My next guest is the moderator of the longest-running program, sorry, sir, second longest-running program in television history, Meet the Press. He's also the best-selling author of this book about his dad called Big Russ and Me. Please welcome Tim Russert. You impressed with that Jackie Chan's moves?
That's amazing.
What?
50 years old, and he just didn't clear the desk. He cleared it by 3 and 4 feet.
Okay, you're exaggerating. And first of all, I think my moves, I think I cleared the desk by as much as Jackie Chan cleared the desk. I think he had nothing on me. Once again, proof that the applause sign works. It's the important thing. That's what you need at Meet the Press, is an applause sign.
Well, I was thinking about interviewing Jackie Chan on Meet the Press, right?
Well, yeah, well, why not?
A tough question?
Why not?
You lose your head.
Yeah. Well, why not? Don't come at me, Russert. You're a big man, but I'm quicker and not afraid to cheat. You know, it brings up, you have on Meet the Press, first of all, I mentioned this, longest running television show in the history of the medium.
57 years.
57 years that this show has been on the air. And what kind of fan mail do you get at Meet the Press? Is there a pattern to this fan mail?
There are Meet the Press groupies.
There are groupies?
Yeah.
Okay. What is a Meet the Press groupie like?
Over 80.
Over 80. I've enjoyed this show since the very beginning.
Blue hair.
Blue hair, yeah.
Dinner before 5.
Dinner before 5, right.
Yeah, you get the trend, right?
Right, so people who've never heard of me, basically, is what you're saying. Very nice. It all comes back to me. No, I want to ask you this because on Meet the Press, and obviously it's this amazing institution, but every time I turn on that show, you're talking to presidents. You're talking to President Bush or former President Clinton. You're talking to the vice president. You're talking to Colin Powell, the movers and the shakers. What do you think I'm doing wrong? How do I get... We get big celebrity guests here, but how would I get some of those people on this program? Why aren't they coming? Is it the masturbating bear? Is it Triumph the Puppet? Is there a sense that maybe this show would tarnish their image?
Actually, those might work.
Oh, those would those would lure them on. I see.
Depending who you're talking about.
Right, right. It's pretty amazing, though, when you can say our first guest tonight, the President of the United States.
Did you rehearse jumping over the desk?
Not at all, no. I'm just a natural athlete. We're going to edit out those giggles later.
Have you ever called President Bush and asked him for an interview?
Actually, have we? Oh, okay, our producer says we have. I have nothing to do with Late Night with Conan O'Brien. I have no... I'm an actor. My name's Chip Whitley. I was hired... But apparently someone who actually runs the show says that, yes, we have contacted the president. Not interested, and I've got a young fan base. You'd think he'd want to come here and go, Conan, I tell you, we got some good ideas, you know? But no, apparently...
You can submit your questions in advance.
Oh, is that what they... Is that required?
No,
you don't do that on Meet the Press.
They don't do that at Meet the Press, but WWF does that. You can do that if you want. You might be able to bring them in.
To say we want it, but that would be cheating. Then you'd lose the Conan spontaneity and style. I don't want to submit ahead of time. Conan will then leap over the desk like a monkey. I want to leave it all to chance. All right, let's talk about some things going on in Washington and get your take, because you know what's going on as opposed to me, and then we'll talk about the book. First of all, a lot of people saw this. The portrait of President Clinton was unveiled yesterday at the White House, and it was amazing because President Bush and his wife are there, and Bill and Hillary are there, and it was a love fest.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it, and do these people really like each other, or are they just brilliant actors pretending to love each other? Because their compliments were flying.
Remember during the campaign, it was George Bush said, I will return the honor, integrity to the Oval Office. Mm-hmm. He was talking about one person.
Right.
The person he honored yesterday.
Right.
It's kind of interesting.
Right.
It shows you what a close election it is.
Right.
Every vote is being analyzed, every calculation being made. There are a lot of Democrats out there, swing voters, independent voters. President Bush is confident he has his Republican base secure. So why not say some nice things, gracious things about Bill and Hillary Clinton?
At a time when it would be appropriate.
It's the right thing to do, because, but also it may have some political benefits.
And he complimented them as parents. He said you did a terrific job with Chelsea. And so the idea being that if the election is going to be decided by 2 or 3% of the voters in the middle, maybe that kindness or benevolence would reflect well.
You can tip it, you know. But also there's a grudging respect amongst politicians. There have only been 43 people who ever became president of the United States. And even if someone else is a Democrat or a Republican, you respect the person who made it. That's
Right.
a tough mountain to climb.
Right.
No matter what you may think of a person.
So there's a bit of a, I may not like this person, but they're in this little club with me. There aren't that
Right,
many people,
right.
and you're in the club, you're
The
in the
late
club.
night club is very small, right?
Leno and I were just having a rub down not 5 minutes ago. Pretty good rub down we're having here, man.
I'd see that up. Huh?
Now, a lot of discussion right now. John Kerry has to choose a running mate soon. In an election this close, especially when you're dealing with a candidate like Kerry, who hasn't really been defined yet, vice presidential selection could be crucial. Who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's either Dick Gephardt of Missouri or John Edwards of North Carolina. Kerry knows Gephardt better. Gephardt's run for president before, so he won't be prone to a mistake. He's from Missouri, a swing state. There are 50 states in the country, only 18 that are really undecided. Edwards is someone who is a very good aggressive campaigner, would probably be a very good debater against Dick Cheney. Kerry doesn't know him quite as well. He's never run for president in a general election. More of an outside shot, if you will, although there's a lot of support for Edwards amongst rank-and-file Democrats who think he'd bring excitement and energy to the ticket.
That maybe he's the voice of the future, that we should utilize his energy.
Yeah, so I think it comes down to those two, and John Kerry has to figure out, which way he wants to go. Gephardt's the more cautious choice. Edwards rolling the dice more. I remember President Kennedy in 1960 when he said to Bobby Kennedy, I'm going to take Lyndon Johnson. And Bobby said, you hate Lyndon Johnson. He said, yeah, but he can help me carry Texas.
Right. I want to win.
In the end, it's all about winning. And John Kerry will decide who can help him win this election.
Don't you get the impression that it's all being decided by computers at this point, that they've, and I'm not even kidding, that they've got it, there's so few voters up for grabs here in the middle that they have computer studies that are probably telling the Democratic, National Committee, you get 8 more votes if you choose Gephardt over Edwards.
They can try to focus group that and poll it, and it never works.
Right.
I remember election night 2000, the computers went crazy, the projections were all wrong about Florida, and I took out my little dry erase board and started writing the Electoral College.
Yeah, I thought you were having a meltdown. You were out there with a piece of chalk, and you were scribbling madly. But you ended up probably being more accurate than a lot of the computers.
It was, and I went home the next morning exhausted, and my son said, Dad, could I have that dry erase board? And I felt father-son bond.
Right.
And he said, you know what that thing's worth on eBay?
Right. That kid's smart.
Smart kid.
For 2004, use an Etch-a-Sketch. I think that'd be really funny. Look, I'm making a butterfly. That's all the time we have, Tim. Let's talk about the book. This book, Big Russ and Me, is about your father and your relationship with your father. Your dad obviously must have read this book. Did he have any corrections that he wanted to make? Anything he thought you got wrong?
I poured my heart in this book, and I was sure I had everything right. I gave it to my dad, and it was all done. And then he was being interviewed about it. And he's a chapter on food. And then there's a quote my dad says every day, you got to eat. Dad will call you on your birthday, 7 o'clock in the morning. Happy birthday. What are you having for dinner?
Right.
Well, Dad, it's 7 o'clock. I haven't had breakfast. You got to eat. You got to eat.
Right.
So he said, the kid only got it half right. I said, what are you talking about, half right? You say it all the time. He said, no, the full phrase is what Dr. Matty Burke taught me. You got to eat if you're going to drink.
Nice. He's a wise man.
So in the paperback, I will fix it. But my dad grew up in the Depression, left school in the 10th grade to go fight in World War II. Terrible plane crash, 6 months in the hospital. Came home and worked 2 full-time jobs as a garbage man and a truck driver. Never complained, and he gave me a chance to be the first person in my family to go to college. And this book is a Father's Day gift to him, to thank him for his sacrifice and for all he did for me. And I really, really deeply appreciate him.
It's an incredible story. There's also there's a nice story in here about you and your dad, and you're starting to have success. It's all going well for you, and you're out in Hollywood, and you take him out to a fancy Hollywood restaurant. Is that true?
Maria Shriver, now the First Lady, took us to a place called Spago's, and they were making these little personal pizzas with sprouts, which Dad never seen.
Famous that all the Hollywood types want.
Dad's looking, he said, what do you want these? He said, I want 2 of those pizzas. I want them bigger, and I want pepperoni mushroom. Never mind the sprout.
Right.
He said, what would you like to drink? He said, I'll take a beer. And you want Pete's Peak or Anchor Steam? And he said, what's he talking about? I said, give him a Bud. Maria Shriver got a bottle of wine in an ice bucket. Big Russ puts down the Bud and says, hey, buddy, come here, to the waiter. Why don't you take about 3 or 4 of those, slam them in the ice, and won't have to bother you the rest of the meal.
I like his style. That's what everyone's thinking when they're at a restaurant like that. Just fill this up with some Budweiser right here and leave me alone for the night.
And Maria Shriver said, Big Russ, I really love you, but if all you wanted was a pepperoni pizza and a six-pack, we could have gone to Chuck E. Cheese.
Right. And roll around in the bin of balls, you know? It's just that's what Big Russ really would like to do, probably.
There you go.
Big Russ and Me is a terrific book. It's in stores now. Meet the Press airs every Sunday on NBC, and you're doing a terrific job. Thank you.
Happy Father's Day to you.
Oh, thank you. Well, there you go. Tim Russert. We'll be right back with Franz Ferdinand. All right, everybody, we're back, and it's time to find out who's on the show tomorrow, and this is going to blow your mind. Here we go. Coming up tomorrow night on the show, who'd have thunk it, from the film The Stepford Wives, Matthew Broderick's going to be here, huh? Everyone loves Matthew Broderick. Very funny comedian and actor Stephen Wright's here. And musical guest tomorrow, Patti Scialfa will be on the show. That's a fine one. Stick around when we come back. Franz Ferdinand will be here.